there's a political problem you see happening almost everywhere right now.
Right, these huge historic parties that used to dominate everything.
Exactly. And now they're just struggling to hold on to their base when the world has gotten so fragmented.
What happens when that old school organizational muscle just isn't enough anymore?
So for this, we're looking at some really fascinating research coming out of Malaysia. It's from the Ilm Center.
A very well-respected polling and analysis firm there.
And this data, it was presented by Mujibu Abdul Muis, and it's a really sober look at Malay political support after their big GE15 election.
And the key thing to grasp here, really, is why this isn't just, a small dip in the polls. The research calls it an unprecedented turning point.
A turning point? How so?
Well, because now no single group can get a majority in parliament. They've been forced into this unity government.
And that instability all comes back to one kind of shocking number. Brno, the party that ran things for decades, their support among Malay voters is now just 24%.
Which is just a sharp, sudden break from their traditional base. It's not a slow decline.
Let's put that in context for a second. After the 2018 election, GE14, their support was sitting at 48%.
So it's literally been cut in half in just a few years.
Cut in half. And it's worst among younger voters. The research even warns that if this trend continues, they could drop below 20%.
And to really understand why this is happening, the Ilm Center breaks the Malay electorate down into three very distinct new categories. It shows how fractured things are.
Okay, so what's the first group?
First, you've got the faithful, the hardcore supporters. Yeah. They're the ones who still see Pono as that necessary pillar of stability. But, that group is getting older and it's shrinking.
Right. And the second?
Second group is key. Yeah. They're the former supporters. And they didn't just become undecided. They actually switched their vote.
They shifted their allegiance. Where to?
Mostly to the other coalition, Perikatan Nasional. It was largely a form of conservative protest vote.
Okay, but the third group you said is the largest bloc?
By far. And they are the fence-sitters. But don't think of them as passive. They're highly critical. They're watching everything.
What are they watching?
The economy, leadership performance, the stability of this new government. It's this wait-and-see attitude that's UMNO's biggest tactical headache.
But wait, if UMNO's trademark has always been its organizational strength, its machinery on the ground, how can something like narrative building fix that? Doesn't that just sound like spin?
That's the profound issue, though. In this new environment, that traditional machine for getting out the vote just isn't enough when social media is completely dominating the conversation.
So they have to pivot.
They absolutely have to. They realize that defining their story and making it relevant to people's economic reality is now just as, if not more, important.
Okay, so how does this fit into the bigger picture of the unity government?
Well, the support is deeply polarized. Data from late last year shows non-Malay voters are rock solid behind the coalition. We're talking around 70% support.
That's very high. And among Malays?
It's just 12%.
12%? That's a massive gap.
It's the core threat to the government's stability. Overall, UMNO BN support is at 28%, but 45% are opposed and another 27% are.
The undecided fence-sitters? There they are again.
Exactly. And this isn't lost on the party leadership. This research was presented directly at the UMNO Youth Special Convention.
So they're taking it straight to the party's core.
Precisely. To force a kind of reckoning about their role in this new government, the grassroots are demanding answers.
So the party has to recalibrate fast.
They do. They can't rely on history anymore. They have to find a new narrative for those young critical voters or they won't survive this.
And just to reinforce the risk here, that reliable grassroots base, which they estimate is around 30% now, if that keeps eroding.
The research suggests that voter migration away from the party could surge to as high as 55%.
That's a complete demographic upheaval.
It is. And it leaves you with this one final thought to mull over.
Okay.
If coalition governments are now the norm in Malaysia, just as they are in so many Western democracies,
right,
then how fundamentally does a party have to shift its entire strategy when it's not the loyal, hardcore supporters who matter most anymore?
But it's those critical, undecided fence-sitters.
When they are the ones who hold the absolute balance of power, that's the new reality.